Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
Hello everyone. Welcome to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Luke Dunlap, a sports media major here at Arkansas State University. Today we are honored to have the Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine at Arkansas State University, Dr. Heidi Banse, who graduated in 2007 with a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Banse brings a new sense of expertise into the field of veterinary work here at Arkansas State. Dr. Banse, welcome to A-State Connections. How are you today?
Thank you. Good. Delighted to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself,
So I graduated, like you said, from veterinary school in 2007 from Washington State. I'm originally from Montana. And then after graduation, I pursued a large animal internship at the University of Georgia. So working on horses, cattle, small ruminants for a year, and then did a residency in equine internal medicine at Oklahoma State University, where I also got my PhD. After that, I went to the University of Calgary, where I was on faculty for 4.5 years, and then on to LSU for 7 years before coming here. So been around.
Wow, yeah, you've been a globetrotter when it comes to colleges, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So everyone's got like a story to tell. So what's yours specifically? Like what got you into the medical field and in turn specifically veterinary medicine? How'd you get there?
Yeah, I was reflecting on that today, and I think probably what I can remember from my youth is that I grew up with hunting dogs, and that really got me interested and bonded with dogs. And then as I moved through school, got interested in medicine as well, and so that was a great melding of the different areas that allowed me to pursue veterinary medicine.
Wow, very interesting. So you brought some photos to the show today to show us. So would you mind explaining those? We've got some that we have in store. If we could see those. What do we have here?
So we have here our new building. We're so excited about this new building. So that is our College of Veterinary Medicine teaching building, which is comprised of 2 classrooms as well as a good chunk of real estate dedicated to laboratory space. So for veterinary students, it's really important that they get hands-on learning with animals, doing the skills that a veterinary needs to do. And so that lab space is essential, and we have an anatomy lab in there. We have a clinical skills lab there with dedicated practice space for our students to do clinical skills whenever they want to. It'll be open to them 24/7, so we're very excited about that practice lab. We have a surgical skills lab, a radiology suite, a dental suite, so really everything that they need to make sure they're ready to go with all those hands-on skills.
It's very cool. It's very neat. Love to see the hands-on experience in like especially just at this university entirely, and that new building is going to be wonderful. So you're the inaugural dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine here at Arkansas State. So what interested you about this position, and what made you specifically come to Arkansas State?
Yeah, great question. So, and before I get started, I should acknowledge that Glenn Hofsis was here as founding dean before I got started. So he was here for a year and really laid a solid foundation for our program. I'm very grateful for his leadership early on. And then I came on last July to continue building our program and developing our team. With regards to why Arkansas State University, I think from my perspective, in my old job, my prior job at LSU, I oversaw a major curriculum overhaul there, and so underwent the process of building a new curriculum for our veterinary students. And to me, the next challenge or opportunity was to build a whole program. And granted, that's a big step from a curriculum to a program, and it seemed like a bit of a natural progression. And then I think from my perspective, having grown up in Montana, there's a lot of commonalities with regards to recreational opportunities here. Arkansas is a very outdoors state, and I'm a very outdoors person. It also is a very rural state, so that aligned with my values and interests from my youth. And so Arkansas itself was a great opportunity to kind of help mold the veterinary profession, the future of the veterinary profession here in a state that made sense for me.
That's amazing. So how long have you been in Arkansas?
I have been here just a little over a year, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, have you seen all the great sights of the nature of the state and all that?
We're working on it. I'm a big fly fisherman, and so I have spent a bit of time on the rivers for sure, and we do continue exploring. My daughter got her state park passport book, and so we're trying to see all the state parks over the next few years.
That's awesome. Arkansas is a beautiful state. So, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. So tell us about the College of Veterinary Medicine here at Arkansas State.
Yeah, so our college is centered around a 4-year program, and we're what we refer to as a community-centered program. And what that means is that early on in their training and throughout their training, we are having our students be a part of our community and providing services to the community and really being part, both here in Jonesboro and across the state, of that animal health community. And so for our students in their first 3 years of their program, which are largely here on site in Jonesboro, they'll be going out with field experiences both at the Department of Corrections for some hands-on large animal experiences, and then we're partnering with the Northeast Arkansas Humane Society here in town for some of their small animal experiences, and then later on helping with spays and neuters. So helping them get dogs spayed and neutered and helping our students learn how to do those procedures. And that's, of course, after they've had experiences in our curriculum to prepare for that, for sure. But so partnering there in those first 3 years, and then in our 4th year, what we call the clinical year of the program, they then go to practices all across the state of Arkansas, the Mid-South, and even beyond to get hands-on experiences as a veterinarian in the real world at practices where, eventually they'll go once they graduate into those sorts of practices. And so it gives them these essential experiences to make sure they're ready to go. And so we've got practices in that clinical year. We have rotations also at the Department of Corrections, so they'll go back there sometimes. We're partnering with both the Department of Agriculture Diagnostic Lab in Little Rock, as well as at the University of Arkansas Division of Ag over in Fayetteville for what we call necropsy experiences for our students. So part of being a veterinarian is also understanding what goes wrong with those animals and being able to find that out in that postmortem period. And so that's important training for them as well. And we don't have a diagnostic lab here in Jonesboro. We've got to send them out. And so having those community partners just make for a really great educational experience for our students.
That's amazing. Like the community, the way it's just come together to support this veterinary college is just truly a blessing. And so also this is the first school of its kind in Arkansas. So why is this so significant, and how does this impact specifically the Delta region?
Absolutely. So, and we are on track to be the first veterinary school in Arkansas. Yes. There is another one that's in the works as well. So just to make sure we make note of that. But for us, I think it's really important here in the Delta region and in Arkansas at large, because right now there is not enough veterinarians to meet animal health needs. Mm-hmm. And there is a federal designation of underserved areas, and that's usually a food animal or rural practice designation. But 25% of our counties are considered underserved by the federal government. Right. And there's that. And then the other thing is that when we look across at our counties, there are actually 10 counties in the state of Arkansas with no veterinarians, and a good chunk of those are in the Delta region. And so by being here, we'll hopefully be able to train our students from Arkansas in Arkansas. They'll stay in Arkansas. And so that's important for the veterinary community. And then when we think about the impact on Jonesboro and surrounding area, we've got 360 students that will be here on site. We've got around 75 to 80 faculty and staff and their families that will be moving here to support our program. And so there's a big economic impact to the area from that perspective as well.
Absolutely. That is I love the passion of keeping them in Arkansas and staying here, because you're absolutely right. The amount of veterinary care for these animals is very low right now, and I really respect the ability and the desire to go and tackle that head on.
Thank you.
So, how many applicants across the country normally apply to go to school to be a veterinarian?
So I couldn't dig out that number specifically, but there were 12,000 applicants to veterinary schools that are what are called AAVMC members, which is most of the veterinary, that's all the North American veterinary schools, right. and then some in England and other places. So 12,000 applicants, and that is 49 to 49 institutions across the globe, 33 of which are in the U.S. So still a good chunk. Most of those applicants are U.S. applicants, not all of them. It's a lot. It's a lot,
It's a
yeah.
lot. So how large is the need for veterinarians across the region and in the nation and world as a whole? Because as you were saying earlier, like the animals and the amount of animal for care ratio is very low, or is this unbalanced? Like, how would you say, like, how large is the need for it?
So, and that depends upon where you look for your information, and depends upon when those studies were conducted. But early on, several years ago, there were a couple of studies that came out that suggested there was going to be a deficit of around 14 to 20,000 veterinarians by 2030. Mm-hmm. And that was based upon trajectory of pet ownerships, et cetera, at that time. Since that time, with the knowledge of multiple programs across the country in the pipeline, there's been a more recent study that just came out, I think that was about a year ago now, maybe 8 months, that suggested by 2030, we won't have a deficit of veterinarians anymore. So to me, that's a good thing. That means we're meeting the needs. And so we look forward to being a part of that. Now, here in Arkansas, it's a little bit harder to determine exactly what our needs are and how to pin those down, but we did do a survey of our Arkansas Veterinary Medical Association last January, February, and just asked veterinarians, how many veterinarians do you think you need in your community over the next 10 years to get an idea? And the median number of veterinarians that people thought they needed in their community was 4, and we didn't have a huge response rate, but if you extrapolate that out, looking across the state, that does suggest that there are at least a need for several hundred veterinarians, over the next few years. And so we are excited to be able to fill that void with this college.
One thing that just sitting here and talking with you and has taught me is just like how personalized the world of veterinary medicine is being. Like, you guys went and surveyed out communities and said, how many do you guys need specifically? It's like, beforehand, I really didn't understand, like, the scale of all of this. And, like, now I understand, like, this is a real need. And I love to hear the fact that it's by 2030, the stat that it's going to, did you say there was not going to be any detriment at all, deficit?
That's what they're predicting. And again, it's hard to predict workforce needs. Like, it's a pretty dynamic environment. But the most recent study suggested we wouldn't have a deficit by that time.
That's great to hear. Dr. Banse, Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine, joins us on A-State Connections. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more A-State Connections.
Students should watch ASU-TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get. The creativity that some of these students have is truly amazing. Getting that experience can really just take you further, and I feel like our program does that for a lot of students.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
Welcome back to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. Once again, I'm your host, Luke Dunlap. Dr. Banse, the Dr. Heidi Banse, Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine and Arkansas State, here joins us today. How are we feeling today? Welcome back.
Thank you.
So it's exciting to see the shell of the building going up right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So when is the College of Veterinary Medicine scheduled to open?
So we anticipate opening in fall 2026. We are still working through the accreditation process, and we've got to wait to get what's called a letter of reasonable assurance before we can recruit or admit students. And so we're hopeful that we will get that sometime this spring, but opening date is contingent upon that.
All right, that's very interesting. So it's coming up pretty soon.
It is.
Very soon. I'm
Yep.
excited to see that. So what have been some of the rewards and the challenges of starting this school just from scratch, from the ground up, from the dirt? Just what have been the rewards, like the satisfaction of that? How's it come?
Yeah, and I think I see building a College of Veterinary Medicine as like building a puzzle. And so there's a bunch of different pieces we've got to make sure that fit together, and that includes our people, hiring our faculty, making sure we get the right people in the door, making sure that our curriculum is structured to meet our goals, which is that day one ready veterinarian when they graduate, making sure that our building fits our curriculum and what our students need to be successful, and making sure that we have the partnerships, especially because we're a community-centered model, those partnerships that allow us to be successful ultimately. And so it's been really rewarding to start to see some of those pieces come together. And I think especially over these last couple of months, we've landed a number of faculty. So we now have a team of 8 on site. And so it really does start to feel like a team now. And it's been an amazing team that we've landed, and very excited to have them on site. I think we've got, with regards to challenges, I think veterinary education right now is in a pretty dynamic period, and there's a lot of changes going on in the landscape. And so I think one of the things I appreciate about our team is that they're very adaptable and willing to be nimble and adjust as needed to make sure we achieve our program goals. So it's really the team that makes it most rewarding.
That's amazing. You gotta love a good, like, solid team coordination effort. Because, I mean, ultimately, I don't think anything we could do in life would be necessary or would be able to be done without a team, and a good team especially. And that's what we love to see about the College of Veterinary Medicine that's coming up. So how can interested applicants apply to this college?
So they got a hold, not yet, but once all of the information regarding our anticipated timelines and how to go about applying exists on our website. And we will continue to update as we move forward, and as soon as we get the go-ahead from our accrediting body, then we will post that everywhere. Social media, on our website, we will make that very apparent to people so they can apply.
Absolutely. You got to spread the good news. Otherwise, how's anybody going to know it?
That's right.
So how many students do you think will make up the first class, and how many faculty will be teaching these students? I mean, we can probably get a good grasp on the faculty, but if you had to guess, like, the amount of students, how many?
So we are anticipating a cohort of 120.
Wow.
And that will be about half Arkansas students and about half out-of-state students, we think, in this first cohort. And it's always a little bit unpredictable, but that's our plan right now. And by the time that first cohort starts, we will have about 20 faculty on site to teach those students. And that does include, in addition to our newly hired faculty, that does include several faculty in the College of Ag and the Beck College of Sciences and Mathematics that are helping teach some of our courses. So again, grateful for our community here.
Yes, absolutely. This community in Jonesboro, Arkansas is one of the best communities I've ever been in. I can say that as someone who's come from the Central Arkansas area. Yeah. Like, coming here, like, the community is just, they take action, and that's something you just love to see, and it's very rare in this world right now. So what are the different degrees that students will be able to earn, like the plethora, the variety that we've got?
So right now, our singular focus is on the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, and that's the degree that students need to be able to go out and practice veterinary medicine. Otherwise, we are partnering with other colleges to create opportunities for students to potentially pursue other degrees. For example, if they want to get their master's in business administration because they want to go out and run a practice, we're working with other colleges to create programs like that where they can get dual degrees to prepare them for specific career paths. But right now, no undergraduate degrees through our college. It really is the DVM is our selling point.
So what would the DVM, what does that stand for?
Doctor of Veterinary Medicine.
Okay. I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to, like, go like jump the gun on anything, just making sure. Awesome, that's wonderful. So how many students, or will students be able to work with local veterinarians while in school, and what would that look like? So there's a veterinarian clinic here in Jonesboro, correct?
There's a number of them.
A number of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many
Yep.
do you think how many do you think there are?
Oh, I should know this number. I want to say around about 8.
8?
But that, I don't remember if that includes our Brookland, Harrisburg, those sorts of
Right.
practices. But, and so in our students' clinical year, they will go out to some of these Jonesboro and local area practices to work on their skills and being a veterinarian at that time. And then in the first 3 years of the program that's on campus here, we will still have opportunities for practitioners to come in and teach students in a specific hands-on laboratory, like how to place a catheter. If practitioners are interested and able to come in and support those labs and be one of our teachers for those labs, we'd love to have that happen. Same thing for our professionalism stream of our curriculum. So in addition to the hands-on technical skills that veterinarians need, they also need to be able to communicate, to work as part of a team, to understand what a veterinary professional is. And so we're hopeful that our local veterinarians will help come in and teach in that capacity too, as they're able.
So walk me through this. So I'm assuming it's 4 years?
It is.
It's a 4-year program. So walk me through the full 4 years. Like you've got this from the moment you enter to the moment you graduate. Like are there any internships, what all do you have to do, step by step? Walk me through it.
Great question, thank you. So for us, the way we've structured our curriculum is that our students, it's very integrated. It's what we call a competency-based curriculum. So that means we designed it with the outcome in mind and built it backwards to make sure students had the sequence of events to get them to that competent benchmark by the time they graduate. And so in their first year of the program, they will be doing the clinical skills or procedural technical skills that they need, have labs on that. How do you restrain a cow? How do you do a physical exam on a dog? So all of those skills will be in the curriculum early on, as well as starting to think about how do I communicate with a client? How do I gather information when I'm talking to a client? And so that starts in year 1 with just simple scenarios, but getting people comfortable with conversing and asking questions. And then the other part of our curriculum that runs, so both the communication and professionalism stream and then clinical skills run all 3 years. The other element of our curriculum that does that is our clinical reasoning courses. So throughout those first 3 years, students will have a specific course dedicated to how do you identify problems in an animal. So it walks through the door, how do you know what's wrong with it, and how do you make sure you're prioritizing that problem list so you can work through what ultimately the diagnosis might be and how to select different tests. And so that starting all of those elements early helps those students build into a veterinarian without there being this sharp transition where it used to be like the first 3 years were very knowledge-based and you just went to class all day long and just tried to absorb information. And then, boom, you're in the clinics expected to apply it and do these hands-on things that you really weren't ready for.
Right.
And so by integrating this stuff throughout, they still also have those knowledge-based courses. And so our curriculum starts with what we call discipline-based courses like anatomy, histology, physiology. We've integrated that into a single course. So when students are learning about the structure of an animal, what the bones are and the muscles are in that leg, they're also learning about how do the muscles work. What's the underlying mechanism by which muscles contract and those sorts of things. So it's integrated to help support them get that big picture of how something works together. And then that's kind of the first 2 years is very what we call discipline-based. And then in the third year, they go into very species-based courses. So they have small animal medicine, for example, that spans 2 semesters. Livestock medicine and surgery, that spans 2 semesters. So they start to get into courses that are very focused on diagnosis and management in specific species of animals.
It's very awesome because I love how the aspect of it is hands-on as soon as possible because as you were talking about earlier, like those 3 years of just like filling your brain up with like just understanding, like applying it in the books, the textbooks and all that. And then sometimes like whenever you get into your final year where you're put into the clinic and said like just go crazy, like do it. It's like sometimes those things you'll forget from the first year and then they'll expect you to know that. And it's like, well, it's scientifically proven that people that go through and not just learn it through the books, but learn it by action, they remember it and they can recall it, which in the medical field, that is the entirety of it, is recalling, like, here's how I do this. I mean, recollection is literally what saves lives, and it's great to see that schools are adapting to this type of learning style and putting it to use. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think from my perspective, I just wanted to reiterate how grateful we are for being part of the Arkansas community. Our community partners throughout the state, here in Jonesboro, veterinarians across the region. If it weren't for them, we couldn't be successful. So just so grateful for the support here.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Banse, once again for coming on the show. And that will do it for this edition of A-State Connections. Once again, I'm your host, Luke Dunlap with A-State Connections and host of Tipped Off with Luke Dunlap on Spotify. We talk about the NBA, and you can find me on Instagram at LukeDunlap5. And I want to once again thank my guest, Dr. Heidi Banse, for joining me today. Thank you so much. It was truly a pleasure having you on the show.
You're welcome.
And we're very much so looking forward to the school. And also want to say a huge thank you to the instructor of media production, Galen Perkins, and his amazing students in Video Production 1 who are behind the scenes running the show today. I truly could not host this show without them. Special thanks to our producer today, Mr. Jonathan Reeves, and to our broadcast engineer, Timmy Arquette, Aiden Barber, and graduate assistant, Reese Barnett, for their help on this show. Thank you all once again for joining us. And as for me, I'm Luke Dunlap, clocking out on a high note. Take care, y'all.